Welcome to Whippoorwill Holler. I'm Miss Lori and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. Peaches! Roscoe! Peach! Hey, Peach! Don't you touch that wire. She's getting fat. She may be going to have babies. We don't know for sure. She sure looks like it. They sure eat a lot, I can tell you that much.
So, can I predict the winner by looking at these persimmons? So, I have looked at 2 persimmons. I've took the seeds out. There's 4 to 5 seeds in a persimmon. Some of them will be, some of them liable to be rotten, but I've took them out, and you can see that there's a spoon or a shovel, whichever you want to call it. We usually call it a spoon or a fork. And you can see that all of these that I've cut out of 2 different persimmons are showing a spoon. So a spoon means you're going to have a winner with some snow. If it was a fork, it'll look like a little fork in there, and that means you're not going to have as much snow. So I've got this real ripe persimmon right here. I mean, it's ripe. And I'm going to take these seeds out of it. You might talk me into eating it, but they're bitter. I have seen people make persimmon pies. I'm going to take them seeds. They look pretty good. There's number 3. And there's number 4. And a lot of times they'll be, look at there, there's a 5th one. So do I dare put this in my mouth? Look at there. There's another one.
What does that mean?
6 of them. It means they're going to have a big crop of persimmons if they all fill out on the ground. So should I taste it? Actually, that's pretty good.
It's not sour?
It's ripe enough. It's not bad. You thought I was going to make a face.
Yeah.
I knew how ripe it was. Now you get one that's a little greener, like that one there, it'll make you pucker. But anyway, it was pretty good.
You're going to cut that one.
So, I'm going to clean these off, these seeds a little bit. These persimmons remind me of a story of a horse we used to own. His name was Big Boy. Unfortunately, he got to be about 25 years old and we had to put him down. That was a sad day. I normally don't get too close to animals, you know. I mean, I like animals and all, but that was one animal that I truly miss. He raised our kids, and he was the best horse I ever owned. But his teeth got really bad, and we floated them, and we done this, and we done that, and he was getting poor, and it was coming winter, and we struggled to keep him in halfway shape through the first winter, and he had all summer grass, and he was very poor, and I didn't want him to suffer, so we had to put him down. But anyway, he loved persimmons. You could the kids would go out there in the yard. We had persimmon trees right there around the yard, and they would pick them off and feed him, and he'd smack and carry on. He loved persimmons. I'm curious if anybody ever had persimmon fights. We used to have persimmon fights. Let me tell you something. You get you a limber stick before they get ripe when they're still green. Get you a limber stick about 3.5, 4 foot long that's real limber. Sharpen the end of it and stick that persimmon on the end of it, and you can haul back and you can throw that persimmon. Oh, you can throw it 100 yards easy. And you sure didn't want to get hit by one up close. Oh, we used to have fights with them. All that sting and burn is bad. But it was a lot of fun. I used to do that every year. I'd just see how far I could send them.
Did your mom do anything with persimmons that you remember?
I do not remember my mother doing anything with persimmons. Now, I know that some of my elders in my time did eat persimmon pie or persimmon cobbler. I don't know what they called it.
I've never dealt with any, so I don't know. I mean, we've always had them around, but we always fed them to the animals, so I just never have.
So I'm going to cut into a third one. We're going to see if there's a fork or if there's a spoon in there. Now then, this is, if you ain't careful, this ain't for a kid to do. If you ain't careful, you'll cut you. And you see this cut right here? That did not happen from me cutting persimmons. I just cut that a while ago out there at the hog pen on a hog panel. But it's going to be hard to see. But there's a crease right in the middle of that persimmon seed. There's a crease that will cut that persimmon in half. And you got to be, it may take me a second. I cut them there last night, I think. I'm going to cut right at the end of it like that. One thing about cameras, if I mess it up real bad, we can do another one, can't we?
Yeah.
Sucker's slick. It's hard for me to hang on to. You gotta be careful. You cut your hand now. I don't think I got that right in the center. I'm blind in one eye and can't see out of the other one. Right there. How come every time you get fruit out of a net shows up?
Well, because I've got so much vinegar fermenting in this kitchen.
Okay, I think I got it open. Starting to be open. I didn't do a perfect job, but we'll see what it looks like because I can't even get it open. My old big fingers and all threaded hands.
Did it work? Yeah. Is that a fork?
It looks like it was a spoon and I messed it up. That's what it looks like. It might have been a fork. Surely not. Let's look at another one. If it is, it's contradicting itself, ain't it? All these FolkLores are fun. I don't guarantee nobody that this will tell you what kind of winter. I've done it all my life, just curiosity.
You know, curiosity killed the cat.
All right, now, these Persimmons seeds are giving me fits.
It's because you're on camera.
Well, I can't show nobody how to do it, but anyway, take my word for it. You can cut your finger, you ain't careful.
I think you need a sharper knife.
Well, that seed right there is tough. It's tougher than them others that I cut. I'm not really getting in the center and it's breaking off to the side. But you can see it's a spoon.
Yeah, that's a spoon.
Every one of them I've cut open is a spoon. That and is a spoon too. You see, I think I just tore it. But now if it was a fork, it would look like a little fork.
Yeah, I've seen them.
It would look like a little fork, but so anyway, it's saying that we're going to have a snowy winter.
Well, you know, we're due one. And I've been wanting one really bad.
Now, I know you've been really wanting one.
I say that. I want to sit by my wood cook stove and just drink coffee and sit there.
Speaking of that horse turned to a woolly mammoth when he was healthy. The hair on that horse's, I kid you not, would be close to 2 inches long. And you could look out there on that horse on a frosty, cold, 15-degree morning, and that frost would have his whole back covered. But he was warm.
Tell them the story about how we come about that horse.
That horse?
Big boy, cowboy.
So we decided we wanted a horse. I had horses off and on all my life, but was up there on the farm and decided we'd get another horse. We hadn't had one, I don't think, since we was married at that time. And so we went to Poplar Bluff, Missouri to a horse course. And I rode the horse outside of the ring, which they rode him inside the ring. He's gentle, broke. And I listened to the guy tell me the story about this horse. He raised him from a colt. When he was 2-year-old, might have been less than that, he was wading around in a pond with him, and he was gigging frogs off of him. And anyway, he told me all about the horse, and he told me what it would take to buy him, and I told him that I'd give him X amount of dollar, but he's going to have to throw in the saddle and haul him home, so I ended up giving, I don't remember, $950 for him or something like that at the time. And took him home, and he raised all my kids. You could rope off of him, you could shoot off of him, you could drag brush with him. There wasn't a task that he wouldn't attempt to do for you. Just a good horse, the best one I've ever owned. And the guy come back a few years later and tried to buy him back.
You'd look out in the pasture, and him and the kids would be laid down in the pasture, and the kids would be laying on him. He'd just be laying there sunning, and the kids would be laying on him. Good horse.
He could catch him anywhere. I don't care if you were slinging a trash bag and making all kinds of racket and had a saddle on your back and a bridle in your hand. You could walk up to that horse and he'd stand there. It didn't matter. We fed him a little bit of feed every day just to keep him checked on. One time I come out of the house there, out on the porch, and he nickered at me. And I looked at him out there. He was standing right by the fence. And I went about my business, and an hour or so went by, and I come back by there again, and he nickered at me again. And I thought, well, he's standing in the very exact same spot he was. And I went over and looked, and we had some sheep at one time there, and I had a real low bob wire about that high off the ground. And he had hooked his shoe. It had come in behind the shoe on the bottom of his foot and hooked that wire. And he's just standing there. He wanted me to turn him loose. Most animals would have tore the shoe off or broke the wire or whatever, but not that horse. He was very good natured. And like I say, I fed him a little bit of grain every day just so he'd come up and we could pet him. And I wish I could pet him today, but one time he didn't come up, and I went to hollering for him, and he never nickered at me, and I knew that was real unusual. And I went down into the thicket. There's a thicket down in there, down in the pasture, kind of growed up. And I walked in there, and he finally nickered at me when I walked inside the woods. And I walked down there to him, and all he had done was there was a grapevine growing up, a big grapevine, and he had stepped over it, and he'd hung it under his hind leg. He went over it, and it drawed up under his hind leg, and just like he was caught. he'd walked around there a little bit, but he just waiting for somebody to come get him out of it. And of course, I got him out of it. It wasn't hard to get him out of it, but he thought he was caught. But like I say, he was the best horse I've ever owned. I've owned a bunch of them. So, do you think we're going to have, dear, you think we're going to have a snowy winter?
Well, I mean, we're due one, and the forecast that I keep seeing, you know, what's that one on YouTube, that Hall guy? What's his name?
If you hadn't asked me, I could have told you.
I know, last name's
Ryan Hall, y'all.
And he's predicting it, and a lot of people are predicting it, so we'll see.
If you ain't never watched Ryan, it's Ryan Hall, y'all. He's a storm chaser too. He's on YouTube. If there's storms, most of the time, if there's storms anywhere in the United States, he's on there, no matter where you live. If you know, and when it's tornado season, he's chasing tornadoes. He don't, but there's teams, and he's associated with tornado chasers all over the United States. And he follows them, and they report into him, and you'll see some live scenes, and it's real interesting to watch him. He's real good at what he does. You can tell him that Whippoorwill Holler sent you over there, and he don't even know me. But I watch him quite a bit whenever things are going on. When we was having them storms here, there was the chasers was trying to get here. They thought it was going to set up in Oklahoma, and it ended up setting up closer to here, and they were trying to get here, but he's kind of up to date on a lot of things, what's going on weather-wise.
So, do y'all believe the FolkLore that if it's showing spoons in the persimmons
instead of a fork, I guess you could say if it's showing a shovel instead of a pitchfork.
I guess we'll know in a couple of months, huh?
I guess we'll know. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't bet my life on that, but it is. I've always looked, and I guess it's got a 50% chance of being right, don't it?
Yep. So anyway, that's our prediction.
So my advice is go out and get you a half-ripe persimmon and taste it.
Or throw it from a stick.
Or get you one that's green and throw it from a stick. And just don't throw it at nobody, because I promise you it hurts. Oh, my brothers and sisters, man, oh man, we'd leave blisters on each other. But anyway, I thought y'all might like that. So I went down there, and persimmon trees loaded. And it looks like the acorn trees are loaded, even though we had that drought in July. And it's dry again. And we're supposed to have 100-degree weather next week. And it's going to be something else. And we're going on a little trip not this weekend, but the next, aren't we? We're going to go up on Bull Shoals Lake. Spend a couple of days. I'm going to get out in my boat and fish a little. And I guess if it's 100 degrees, I'll fish a little in the morning and swim in the afternoon. I don't know.
We'll have to take them fishing with us. We got people that like to fish with us.
Well, my boat that I bought, I haven't got to really get out and really run it. And I know you don't like to go fast, but it'll run about 65 miles an hour. And I haven't really been on a big lake where I can really run it for a while, and it needs to be run. I have run it, but not very long. But
y'all tell Paul Brown he don't need to be going 65 miles an hour in a boat on a big lake.
Oh, speed, we like it. That big old boat rides out good, though. It does really well.
So we'll take them fishing with us a little bit next week.
Well, yeah, we'll show them out on the big lake. See if I can catch a fish. Alrighty. That's it for now. We'll be doing something when we can see you next time. We don't know what it'll be, do we?
But we'll be doing something.
Be doing something.
Y'all tell us down in the comments if y'all wanting a big snow or not. Miss Lori is. She's wanting to hang out by the wood stove and just write her cookbook and just stay home.
Hopefully we're going to get to do that in a few years, huh?
Yeah. So we'll see y'all.
So long. God bless everybody.
My Lantana plant is really doing good, and it's just in my old wash tub. Lantanas love really hot, dry weather. So that's why they have really thrived this year. And I'm thinking about planting more for next summer. But they have really done good. I love them. I think they're so pretty. Pretty colors. Lantanas, there's a lot of different colors. Like I said, I think they done so good this summer because it was so dry. 100-degree more weather most of the summer. And that's what they like. So if you live in a dry, hot area, this is a really good plant to have. Lantana. I want to show off my little tea roses. They just keep blooming and blooming. They're so pretty. It's like a blush pink color. They're not very big. They're just little tea roses. But they just keep blooming, and there's different colors. Some yellow ones.
Them two contrasts.
Mm-hmm. Pretty. I love tea roses. I just planted these here in this old wash tub, and they seem to like it pretty good.
They bloomed a lot.
A lot this year. Do what? So my elephant ears have done really good this year, but they're not they're not as like big as they were last year, but there's a bunch of them. So they've done pretty good in this drought. And this is not, I got some on that side of the house too, and they're all doing really good. I love elephant ears.
That's a big one behind your head.